Hi everyone, I'm the plant propagator and welcome to my channel. Today it is, well, it's late in the day. It's 5 o'clock, 80 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about 26 degrees Celsius. It's getting dark, the sun is going down, but I just decided kind of at the end of the day that I wanted to put this video together. So not much planning. This is like Zoom. I got to do this before the sun goes down. But what I've been doing today is making hangers and board mounts for Encyclia tampensis. If you've been following me, you know I've got just a lot of Encyclia tampensis. I have most of what I have now are plants that I've recovered and shipped down here from my old university laboratory and greenhouse. So I've got a lot of plants, and those plants, some of those plants are right here. And these are really nice plants. If you take a look at it, these are just they're pretty nice plants. They're about 3 years old, maybe 2.5, 3 years old, but individually, I'll pull one of the nice ones out so you can take a look at it. These are pretty nice Encyclias, and the plan was to mount these plants, all of these plants, in the state park. So these are a local accession. These are actually seed from a locally grown plant, and I'd been growing these ready. They're ready to go. I was ready to put them out, and then Hurricane Ian came through. Destroyed, it's not funny, I'm sorry, destroyed the park that again is about a mile and a half that way. And what I've been told, it's going to take a year and a half, 2 years or more to get the park open and accessible. Now I've been trying to get in. I got in once and I posted a video on that, but I've been trying to get in to kind of survey how the plants are now doing in the park. It's a state park, and so the management and the upper level administrators don't want me in for my safety. Of course, they don't want me to go in the park, so I can't get in there to assess how the plants are doing. I can't get in there to mount all of these great plants that I brought down here for mounting. They're in these pots, and I've got to do something with them. And so I've been struggling with, what exactly do I do with these plants? They're not gonna, I don't know how well they're going to do if they sit in the pot for too much longer. Again, I got a lot of these guys. So what I decided to do was to mount these on boards, hang them in my orchid growing area in my yard, so that I can then bring them out in rainy season in the spring. But it's going to be a little while. But I need to take care of these plants right now. This is just some of them, and I've got a lot of these plants, and I need to take care of them because they're destined to be mounted in the state park. So what I did for most of the day today was I made different types of mounts, and these are a little bit wet because these have been soaking in. I got a bucket right down here, and they've been soaking in the water in the bucket. But these are cedar boards, and if you can tell, I've got holes drilled in the cedar board. And what I do, I'm wetting the board so that I'm going to mount them on the wet board. But I've got these hooks that I made, and these hooks are 12 gauge galvanized wire that I drilled a hole in the top of these boards and bent the hook around and then formed it here. And these are pretty good, and these are pretty reliable, and they'll work pretty well. I didn't have that many boards, so I also, one of the other things that I did is I took, man, they're all in here and they're stuck. So the other thing that I did is I took the petioles from my date palm, and you have to remove the leaves from the date palm and chop off the petioles. And I've been actually chopping this up and using it in a potting mix that I made. And I thought, well, what the heck? I'm going to try just, again, the same type of thing, and you might not be able to see on here, but I drilled holes, just a 3x3 grid hole, and I drilled a hole in the top, and then I attached these wire hooks. So what will happen with these is I need to mount the tampensis to the front of these things, and then I'll hang them up. And so again, the plan with all of these is to, once they're established and once they're mounted like this, I can just take them to the park and just hang them up in the trees pretty easily. So that's the plan, is to hang them, go to the park when it's time and just hang them up in the trees. And you can even hang them tighter, and the roots that are growing hopefully on the face of this will grow onto the trees that I mount them onto. One of the other things that I'm trying for fun and is also, this is a piece of bamboo, and we'll see what happens with this. So I've got places, and somebody showed me how to do this. So I've got holes drilled in 3 different places on this. I've got again another hook right here, and I'll put 3 different tampensis right here. And again, I'll put this in the area. The main thing that I need to do is get these things out of the pots and get them mounted and get them settled away in my home area, because I've got irrigation 3 days a week and I fertilize 1 day a week. So they'll be this is not like what it's going to be in the park. The park is going to be brutal. There's no irrigation, no fertilizer. But I need to get them established and kind of mounted, and I need to get them out of the pots here in order for them to really do well. I do mounting on some of these things. I can show you what some previous mounts that I have look like. So here's one of the mounts right here, and I did this, it doesn't even say when I did this. I should write it down, but I put this mount of Encyclia on this board. I would guess from the amount of root growth, you can see all the roots growing on the top. I would imagine I did this maybe 9 months ago. So it's doing, it's doing pretty well. So here's one, and I want to show you right here is another one. So this one, again, there's some really nice growth of this plant. This was a larger plant. And you can see what happens, I hope, with the holes on the back so the holes that were drilled through. It's got some nice growth of these roots on the front that you may be able to see, but they like growing through the holes into the, in the board to the back of the board. And so this is what I'm going to try to do. So what I do is I mount these to these boards. I use rubber bands to hold the plants in place. I use also sphagnum moss just on this part of the plant. I've talked to a lot of people that mount orchids either on trees or on boards or whatever, and they just really don't like using sphagnum moss. And the thing is, you're not burying the whole huge plant in sphagnum moss. You kind of put the sphagnum in the root area to kind of protect the roots from a fresh transplant. And then what happens, as you can tell, is the roots grow out of the sphagnum moss and onto the board, and then they grow through the board. So it's just for some localized protection, this sphagnum moss, and I just really do like to use this. So this is one of the other things that I have. The other thing, so these are mounts. You don't need to grow Encyclia as a mounted plant. So here, again, this is from the same batch, and this is the same batch of plants that were from here. But you can see what happens if they're in the pots. These are pots. This is just Orchiata bark. But if they're in the pots, they just there's so much more moisture in there for them. If it's good aerated, a good potting mix, they'll take off. They do really well. You have to be careful when you grow these types of plants in the pot that it doesn't go for too long and the potting mix doesn't decompose and really keep the roots from getting their aeration, the air that they need for growth. So here's one of my potted plants. Here's another one of my potted plants, again from the same batch, and you can see how well these things are doing. And again, compared to, I'll pick one of the nice ones. So here's one of the nice ones right here. But you can see how well these guys are doing. When they're in the pot here, they're going to be a little restricted. So you know, look at how these guys are growing. Even, you know, the stuff that's mounted here, it just, you know, this is the same batch of plants. It doesn't do as well. So but again, you have to be careful. And I don't know, I'm going to show you, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but I'm going to show you so you might be able to see, look down in the pot and see the roots on this tampensis and how they're really growing all over the, oh man, I feel bad. I pulled the tag out on this and I ripped the root off, and I feel bad, but I wanted to show you what the roots look like on this plant. So they're growing pretty well, just all over the top of the potting. And this is, again, this is Orchiata. Okay, so let's go over how to mount these things. It's really simple, and the method that I use, it's just so incredibly straightforward. There's lots of different ways to attach the orchid onto the different mounts, either a board or a tree. Some people use twine, jute. Most people use zip ties, which I don't like to use. It's zip ties are, it's plastic, and they work really well. And for, if you have to go around a large area, you attach multiple zip ties together. I just don't like using zip ties. They're a little more challenging to work with. People use fishing line. You can use sewing line, heavier, but fishing line is what a lot of people use, and they wrap around it again. So the fishing line will kind of decompose over time, but again, this is plastic. And so what I like to use is, and I've shared this with you before, these are rubber bands, and these are high quality indoor-outdoor rubber bands, and I did a lot of work on these as far as finding out what the best rubber bands were going to be for growth. So these are, again, all-weather durability. It says on the, right up here, all-weather indoor-outdoor rubber bands. These happen to be black. You can get them in green. You can get them in different colors. And what I do, and it's fairly straightforward, is so I take the mounting board right here, and I just take the rubber band, and you can get these rubber bands on Amazon, and I'll post in the video description. I will post how you can, where the number and the item that you get on these rubber bands. And these are, I think they're 8-inch. Oh my gosh, 7-inch. All right, so they're 7-inch rubber bands. And again, these are indoor-outdoor, so they're sturdier rubber bands. They'll hold up, but over time, again, they'll break down and they'll fall off. These guys have been mounted for a while, these mounts here. And you can see the rubber band that's still on there, and the rubber band on the back. And so they hold on there and they do well. Now, the advantage of using the rubber band is that it's really easy to mount the orchids. It's incredibly straightforward. So let me grab a nice one. So here's a nice tampensis right here. This is a nice one. And when you mount orchids and when you mount these things, what you have to do is look for the new growth. And it's kind of counterintuitive. Regine taught me this, that you have to place the new growth towards the mounting medium. So I have new roots in this pot that you can see maybe that are growing out of the back. And so I am going to try to get this out of this pot. These are in here really tight. Oh, okay. You can see, just an incredible root system. And so the root system here is pretty extensive. So these are doing well. This plant is doing really well. So the new roots are growing from this side of the plant. So what I'll do is I'll take this plant, I'll pull up the rubber bands, and I will slide the plant down right here. And that's pretty much all there is to this part of it. All right, so I have the rubber bands that are holding the plant in place. I guess that's it, but I'm making a little bit of a mess. So the new, and what I try to do is try to get the plant mounted over the holes so that the new roots that are growing out of this thing will attach to the board. All right. The problem with this, if you look at it, is that again, you've got all these nice roots in this big plant. So you can't smash the plant too much. So I'm going to smash it down a little bit. But you've got all these roots that were protected, that were in the pot, that are now exposed. Now, it's probably going to be okay if you just let this go and call it done and mount this like it is. But again, what I tell you I like to do is I like to put sphagnum moss over the top of this and protect the new roots, because again, these beautiful roots were in the pot, and the potting mix was pretty moist still, because these guys were under irrigation early this morning. So what I do is I take moistened sphagnum moss, and I grab a little bit out, and I just cover. And I'm sorry, it's not going to be in your view. So I just put the sphagnum moss over the root system, and you have to do this to protect. So essentially, that's what you have. I'm going to put a little bit more in right here, but this is essentially what you have. Let me get the little bit more that's in there, and you do this just to protect those fresh roots that are being exposed to the air that were originally buried in the pot. All right, and then what's going to happen? So this is it, and this will work. This will work well. What's going to happen again is, and what you see with these other plants, is that the sphagnum stays there, and it will eventually kind of fall off, and the plant will establish. So you'll get roots growing out of the plant on the board. You'll get roots that will grow through the holes that are in the back of the board, and they'll become established. And then again, the idea here is that, and this is, I think I mentioned that this is cedar. I mentioned bamboo. I mentioned date palm, and all of these things, eventually they'll decompose, but they'll be here. They'll be good for a little while. This plant is then just going to be, it's just going to be hung up here, and it'll get treated like with all of my other orchids. All right, so that's all there is to it. Should I do one more? All right, I'm going to do it because I haven't done this before. We'll see how this goes. Again, I'm going to get a single rubber band here, and this is a. I'm going to try. I haven't done this before. Yay! So but because this is smaller, I think I'm going to have to go around this 3 times. All right. So I went around this. This is the base of the date palm petiole, and I don't want a huge plant for this because this is a smaller, this is smaller, so I don't want a huge plant for this. So I'm going to take a plant that's just a little bit smaller, and that's one right here. Let's take, still got a lot of roots in it, and the roots are grabbing the pot. And I'm shaking, well, this is better. All the bark is kind of falling off, and I'm trying to see where, and it looks like on this plant, the new growth is right here. So it's around the bigger bulbs that are in the back of the plant. So I'm going to try to, what I'm going to do is I'm going to mount this on, I'm going to try to mount this plant like this onto this piece of the piece of petiole. So let's see how this goes. All right, and so we got one rubber band up there, another rubber band, and another one. All right, and so I need to adjust this just a little bit so that the plant is more securely attached. So, and with the rubber band, again, it's easy because all you have to do is you pull it out, you shove the plant in, and then it's easy to adjust. And I also have to see where this is relative to the holes, and I figure out that I want to pull this down just a little bit, so I'll pull it down. And again, the adjustment with the rubber bands is really straightforward. So this is where it needs to be. I will then take some more sphagnum moss right here, and this is moistened sphagnum moss. It's easier, I'm sorry, if I put this down and I slip the sphagnum moss underneath the rubber bands. Boy, it's getting dark. It's getting hard to see what I'm doing. You can't tell, but it's getting dark. All right, I'm going to have to adjust this a little bit more. Okay, but it's the same type of thing. You just put a little bit of sphagnum moss around the base of the plant, and just to kind of protect those new roots, because they were exposed to this, the lower humidity. And what you can see, it's interesting. There's a root on the back of this that ended up just on the petiole. But again, it's the same type of thing. I'll mount this. I think this is cute. I don't know. We'll see. Cute, it's a temporary solution until I can put these things, mount these in their permanent home. So that's all I have for today. I've got a lot more. Here's all my other mounts in here. I've got a lot of other mounting that I've got to do, so I've got to finish this up before it gets too dark. So that's all I have for today. I hope you enjoyed learning how I mount my Encyclia tampensis, the Florida butterfly orchid, on these boards, and kind of what you expect to see as these plants will grow over time. If you liked what you saw today and you want to keep on seeing them, it would help me out if you could click on like, share, and subscribe to my channel if you have not yet subscribed. All right, that's all I have for today. Happy propagating.